Welcome to A Kind and Gentle Word. I'm Jordan. And let's all take a nice deep breath in and a long cleansing exhale. Just allow the outside world to fade away. Tonight we are reading chapter 4 of the book of Esther. The goal here is not to overstudy or overanalyze the scripture, but instead just allow the words to soak into your ears and permeate your heart. Reading the Bible can be very intimidating. We're always trying to figure it out and dissect absolutely every word, every translation. But instead, let's just take in the story tonight and allow it to be the last thing that you think about and the last thing that you hear before you fall asleep. When Mordecai learned of all that had been done, he tore his clothes, put on sackcloth and ashes, and went out into the city, wailing loudly and bitterly. But he went only as far as the king's gate, because no one clothed in sackcloth was allowed to enter it. In every province to which the edict and order of the king came, there was great mourning among the Jews, with fasting, weeping, and wailing. Many lay in sackcloth and ashes. When Esther's eunuchs and female attendants came and told her about Mordecai, she was in great distress. She sent clothes for him to put on instead of his sackcloth, but he would not accept them. Then Esther summoned Hathach, one of the king's eunuchs assigned to attend her, and ordered him to find out what was troubling Mordecai and why. So Hathach went out to Mordecai in the open square of the city in front of the king's gate. Mordecai told him everything that had happened to him, including the exact amount of money Haman had promised to pay into the royal treasury for the destruction of the Jews. He also gave him a copy of the text of the edict for their annihilation, which had been published in Susa, to show to Esther and to explain it to her. And he told him to instruct her to go into the king's presence, to beg for mercy and plead with him for her people. Hathach went back and reported to Esther what Mordecai had said. Then she instructed him to say to Mordecai, "All the king's officials and the people of the royal provinces know that for any man or woman who approaches the king in the inner court without being summoned, the king has but one law, that they be put to death, unless the king extends the gold scepter to them and spares their lives." But 30 days had passed since I was called to go to the king. When Esther's words were reported to Mordecai, he sent back this answer: "Do not think that because you are in the king's house, you alone of all the Jews will escape. For if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance for the Jews will arise from another place. But you and your father's family will perish. And who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this?" Then Esther sent this reply to Mordecai: "Go, gather together all the Jews who are in Susa and fast for me. Do not eat or drink for 3 days, night or day. I and my attendants will fast as you do. When this is done, I will go to the king, even though it is against the law, and if I perish, I perish." So Mordecai went away and carried out all of Esther's instructions. Esther is known and should be known for being one of the bravest women in Scripture. As she should be. She's going against the law, against her now husband and the king, who doesn't know that she's of Jewish descent, that she herself is a Jew, and could possibly, and more than likely, be annihilated with her people. And yet, she knows that God is for her. And if God is for her, then who can be against her? And that's another scripture from Romans 8:31. What then shall we say in response to these things? If God is for us, who can be against us? So take heart tonight as you fall asleep, because no matter who is against you, God is for you. And that is all we need. It can be hard to imagine that that's all we need, but if we have God, we have everything. As you fall asleep tonight, remember to be kind to others and gentle with yourself, for we are all a work in progress. Sweet dreams.